Hey guys, it's Mari, and our challenge this week is to use clouds on a layout. So here you'll just see me taking a cut file off of my Silhouette mat, and the cut file that I'm using here is from the Justnik Studio. I will leave a link to the cut file in the description below. I'm going to just take these clouds off of my mat, and I ended up just cutting a whole bunch out. I'm only going to actually use 3 of these clouds, but I just thought since I was cutting a bunch out, I would cut some extras, and then the next time I want some clouds, I have them all cut. So I am going to back these clouds a little bit later with some gold glitter paper. So what I decided I wanted to do was scrap some photographs of Jordan and Paul from Thanksgiving weekend when they went to a display in Gatineau. And the photographs are really beautiful colors. And part of the reason why is because they involve these tree sculptures. So I wanted to print the photographs in color. So that meant that I had to kind of go through my stash and find some papers that had some reds and blues and yellows. And that was not an easy thing to do. But anyway, you'll just see me taking a look here at some different papers that I had in my stash. The one with the hot air balloons is from Chamel Starshine, and then the bottom one is from Maggie Holmes Chasing Dreams, I think. So that's kind of the color palette that I decided on. Now you can see that the photographs that I'm going to be scrapping here are the bottom one is actually 4x6 in portrait, and then the top 2 photographs are smaller. They're about, I would say about 4x2.5, and those are also in portrait. So I kind of had an idea of how I wanted to place the photographs, but you'll see me go through a few changes here as I work through the process. So I have that hot air balloon strip at the top of my page, and so I'm thinking of my page kind of in thirds, right? So that top third, I have that hot air balloon paper, and then I was thinking I'd like to add another mat on top of this. So I like the idea of using a couple of neutral papers here, and this gray paper is from a Felicity Jane kit, and I just really like the tone of gray. And I also thought I might use the white paper with the black circles on it, and I wasn't sure if I wanted the dark color as the frame as the bottom mat or the white color as the bottom mat. So you'll see me play around with that. And then I end up changing my mind completely, and I use another piece of paper that's actually another gray, and it's another paper from Felicity Jane rather than this white. I end up using kind of like a gray on gray rather than that white with the circles. So I will just place this on here and think about how I want that to go. That's generally where that mat is going to be placed, roughly maybe a little bit lower when it's finished, but I will end up changing the paper. I also changed the size of that bottom photograph. It's just too big. It just takes up too much space, I think, on the layout at this point. So I sized that down a little bit, and it's just a little bit smaller by about 3/4 of an inch in both height and width. Now, I'm sorry, I apparently also adjusted my light, and this is actually the next day. So I didn't scrap this all at one time. I took my eyes away from the layout for a day when I went to work, and then I came back and I worked on it a little bit more, and I have actually adjusted the light on my iPad that I am videotaping with here. So sorry, it's so bright. It just seems almost like a little bit blinding here. So now you can see that I have changed up my papers here a little bit, like I said, and I've made that bottom photograph a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to cut down that yellow paper that I wanted to mat this photo onto. And I really liked the bringing that yellow into a few different places in the layout just because it was in those hot air balloons, and it's also a color that's in one of these pictures of the tree sculptures. So I'm just sizing that down a little bit, getting that frame around or that mat just a little bit smaller. I wasn't exactly happy with how even it was on all the different sides, so I just slipped it off, and I'm just making sure that it's as straight as it can be. And now you'll see me just kind of try to get an idea again of how I want to place these photographs. So the one photograph on the left at the top will be slightly crooked or on an angle, and then the other one will be straight. So I'm going to once again bring in a little more yellow there with that strip across the top, just to kind of make a little bit of a division in the design between the top and the bottom. So the top third and then the bottom 2/3. And then I also put a little strip of gold glitter paper there as well, just to bring a little bit of gold in. And then you'll see that I'm going to back my clouds with some gold glitter paper as well, just to bring in a little bit of something different, a little bit of a sparkly bit on the layout. So I like how that looks. I think that's pretty. And it does accentuate the clouds, which is the challenge this week. So I did struggle a little bit with this, I'm not going to lie, but I worked it out. And I like the idea of the clouds with this layout actually, because you'll see that the kids have their hoods up and they're carrying an umbrella. It was super rainy that day when they went on this little tour. So I'm going to pop up the photograph here that's going to be over top of the tree sculpture photo there at the top. I'm going to have the one that's already on there at the top flat, and then this one I'm going to pop up beside it on some foam, just so that it kind of stands out a little bit there. And I love this photograph of the kids, the one that I'm just putting the glue on here. It's super cute, and they had that little frame around their faces there and so on, and my sister was taking these pictures, so they turned out really good. So I'm just going to adhere that larger photo at the bottom, and I'm going to put that down straight, and then I'm going to put another cloud on this bottom 2/3 of the layout as well, to bring that cloud theme into the bottom. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of an embellishment cluster here in the bottom right hand corner of the photograph. So what I did was I just took and fussy cut some of those little hot air balloons from that Chamel paper. Did I say that was Chamel paper from Starshine? I hope so. I don't remember if I called it Chamel paper or Dear Lizzie paper, but it is Chamel from Starshine. And thank goodness I had that paper, because I do not have a lot of red in my stash. I'm going to say that right now. So it was a struggle. I did go through basically my entire stash and scoured for different little bits and pieces that would go with this color scheme that I have going on here. And I found this little piece, not 100% sure where this came from, maybe a cut apart from a Felicity Jane kit. And I like that. It says thoughts from today on it. And I'm just going to use a variety of little bits and pieces to layer over there on the side. So I have obviously the flat parts underneath, and then I'll put some dimensional pieces over top, including using a little bit of foam adhesive on that top hot air balloon there at the bottom, and a little bit of chipboard. I'll use a couple of staples in this piece of acetate here, and just to create a little bit of interest in that corner. I end up using a little phrase sticker down there as well, which I think is a Studio Calico sticker, and you'll just see me creating a few little layers in that corner. So I'm just going to put something heavy on top of that chipboard love piece there, so that it will actually stick down. This Today piece is from a Dear Lizzie collection, and that will be my title piece. And then I'm just going to use some journaling strips from my computer to journal, and I am going to add a few little stars. So I really love these pictures of the kids. They are from Mosaic Canada, which is an exhibit for Canada's 150th birthday. And there were, I believe they said something like 40 tree sculptures and plant sculptures in this display. I guess it was just absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. And I really wanted to document this. And I just thought this cloud theme was perfect, like I said, because of the weather. And it was definitely a challenge to figure out what I was going to use for embellishments and paper for this color scheme, and how to incorporate the clouds. But it was good. It was a neat opportunity to think outside the box and figure out how I was going to include 3 photos and then, the embellishments and papers that I had in my stash. So I'm just going to finish up with a few little details here to complete the layout, and that'll be it. Make sure you click the link to Kelly's channel in the description below so that you can see how she interpreted the clouds theme for this week. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.